This workshop will be discussing about let me put some 24. So we'll be discussing about what is Splunk, what are log files, what are machine generated files again, machine generated files, why to use Splunk, where to use Splunk, Splunk use cases, and we'll also seeing Splunk GUI. Okay, I'll also showing you Splunk GUI as well. Okay, so these are all the topics we are going to discuss in our workshop today. Okay, so before going into the actual Splunk, I want to explain the market scenario for Splunk first of all. Okay, so right now in the market, Splunk is the leader, global leader for the log files. Okay, for the logging tool, Splunk is the global leader for the logging tool. Earlier, actually, ELK was the main competitor and it was the global leader earlier. It was in the top place. But from the past 3 to 4 years, Splunk has been raised and it is the global leader right now in the market. Okay, not only right now, even after 10 years also, it will be a global leader in the market as well, because it has got so much of features. It has got sophisticated features where others even it is a licensed tool, whereas the others are the free tools. But even then, it is the number one tool in the market. Okay, that is the potential of the Splunk. So even after 10 years also, it will be in the position only. Even if you consider that, because nobody can cross Splunk, nobody can provide the features as Splunk provides. And also, if you consider that if some other tool also comes, Splunk won't sit idle, right? It is right now, it is it is in the top list in the market. So it also has its own strategies. It will be developing more than that only. Okay, so right now, if you see Splunk, it is very aggressive. It is the versions are changing month by month actually for Splunk. So this is the scenario. So Splunk will be no tool can beat it within the 10 year span. Okay, that is the scenario. If you consider the job market for Splunk right now, it is the best time for the for having a job in Splunk right now. Congratulations for all you people. You have taken the right decision right now, and you are interested in learning Splunk. You have moved a good step actually, I have to say, because this is the good time where you can enter into Splunk and you can have a bright future. Okay, whatever the field you are in right now, you can enter into Splunk, because Splunk has no prerequisites actually. Okay, so whatever the field you are in, you can come into Splunk and you can have a bright future. And also right now, it is easy to get a job as well. So people are struggling actually, organizations struggling to get people for Splunk. They want good people, they do not able to find the people actually. So this is the best time. If you have a good knowledge, even though if you're not perfect in Splunk, if you have at least good knowledge in Splunk, you can easily crack an interview and you can easily have a job. Okay, even they are ready to pay 50 to 60% hike as well. Okay, for the right candidate. That is the kind of scenario that is happening in the job market right now, because the demand is more and the supply is less. Okay, people are less but the demand is growing more. So that is why you will be having a good time with Splunk actually. So again, if you consider 1 or 2 years later, then the scenario may be different actually. So nobody then the scenario may be different. The jobs will be there. I mean to say that jobs will be there, but the competition increases actually. So just like another programming languages or other stuff, again the competition increases where it becomes very difficult. Okay, so this is the good time to have the to learn Splunk. Okay, and to enter into Splunk. so that will be having a bright future. And also I have to say this, kudos to Durgasoft team. Actually Durgasoft, they have put a competitive price. Okay, they have put a very competitive price. At this price bracket you cannot learn Splunk anywhere. At this price bracket, 8,000 rupees per month, you cannot learn Splunk anywhere. It is very cheap actually, not in Hyderabad, not in India, not in the world also. So that is the price bracket they have put. So please learn Splunk and please be a Splunker and have a bright future. That's what I will say. Okay, so this is the thing that this Splunk has, the potential has right now in the market. And again, if you consider the jobs, what is the salary actually? So for a 2 to 3 year experience guy also, the salary will be 40,000 like that. Okay, and if your experience increases, for example, say to 4 to 7 to 8 years, then you will easily get 8 to 9 lakhs package. Okay, and still if the experience increases 8 to after 10 years like that, 1.5 2 lakhs also per month also they are ready to give. So that is the potential. Okay, so so there is no prerequisites as well, as I said earlier, and there is no coding as well. Okay, there is no coding in Splunk as well. So as there is no coding, one should not neglect this. Okay, the learning curve is more. The learning curve is more because the features are more. The learning curve is more actually. So, and again, this is a good interview question for freshers as well. What are the disadvantages of Splunk? The disadvantages of Splunk are its license and the learning curve. Okay, so Splunk is licensed to write only, again, the MNCs can afford. Only MNCs and big organizations only can afford. So naturally salaries also will be high only. So that is the thing, and the learning curve will be more because it has got more features. So one should not neglect that there is no coding, and if you are good in Splunk, you can consider that you can get a good job with whatever you are getting, 50 to 60% hike easily you can demand. That is the situation right now in the market. Okay, so these are the things I want to say. Now coming to our Splunk. So clear, right, for everyone? So it is clear, right, what I have said right now? Okay.
Yeah, Kiran.
Yes.
Kiran, what
You
is
would have heard
the
the names like, hello.
hello? Yeah,
Yes.
Kiran. So, what are the free tools available in the market apart from Splunk? As you said, this is a patent one.
Yeah.
So, what are the alternative free
ELK is
tools?
there, which is embedded computer, Logstash, Logly. These are all the free tools available in the market for logging tools. Okay. Yeah. And I'll also, in the next session, I will also telling you the differences between the ELK and the Splunk as well. Okay. In subsequent class. Okay. I will be telling all these things, the differences also I'll be telling. Right.
Okay.
So you would have heard the names, logging tool, logging tool. Okay. SIEM tool. What is SIEM? Can anybody tell?
Security incident event management.
Monitoring tool.
Security information. Yeah. Security information
Event management.
and event management. Yes, correct. Event management tool. You would have heard this name, okay? You would have heard also infrastructure management tool. Infrastructure management tool. You would have also heard application monitoring tool. Application monitoring tool. Okay. If you go on saying like that, if you go on saying that, like, you would also heard reporting tool as well, right? Reporting tool as well. So these are all the names. These are all the names given for Splunk. Okay, these are all names can be called for Splunk. Okay, so whatever, even reporting tool also it will call. It is more than a reporting tool, but generally people tend to call reporting tool as well because it provides beautiful reports as well. We'll be discussing. So these are all the names that is given for Splunk. Okay. So whatever the name you give to Splunk, but Splunk does only one thing. Okay. Whatever the name you give to Splunk does only one thing. What is that? It converts log files into structured data. It converts machine data into structured data. It converts unstructured data into structured data. So this is the only thing that Splunk does. Okay. So that is why it is so popular. But it converts log files, whatever the log file may be, whatever the log file, you can name a thing, whatever the file may be, it will consider and it will convert into structured data. So what are log files again? What are log files? Log files are nothing but machine generated files. So again, if you ask what are machine generated files, the files, the operations, or the activities, or the events, okay, that are performed on the machines or devices. These files will be stored in these activities will be stored in separate files, and these files are called the log files. Okay, what are those? The operations, the activities, or the events performed on the machines or devices are stored on separate files, and these files are called as log files. Okay, for example, consider a programming language like PHP. Okay, so with PHP we can build websites, right? So if you have got a website in PHP, okay, so whatever the operations, whatever the things you do, whatever the activities or whatever the events that are that you do on these websites, these things will be stored in a web server. What is that? They will be stored in a web server. Okay, they will store in a web server. How? As a log files. Okay, as log files. It will stored in the web server as log files. These are the log files, and this is the web server actually. Okay. It be. So these are log files and this is the web server. So these will be stored in the web server. The log files are stored where? In the web server. So not only for a PHP website, it will be stored in the Apache web server. Okay. If you consider again .NET like kind of programming languages, it will be stored in the IIS web server. If you consider Java again, it will be stored in a Tomcat web server like that. Okay. Whatever the programming language may be, they will be stored in a web server. Okay. The log files will be stored in the web server. So this is one thing. So the for programming languages, there will be web server will contain the log files. Okay. Not only web servers, even if you consider operating systems as well, Windows operating system, Linux operating system, or Mac, whatever it may be. So these also will be generating log files. Not only this, okay, not only web servers, operating system, and the software, not only these things, but even if you consider router as well, okay, even if you consider router, even if you consider a switch as well, okay, even if you consider applications like your mobile applications like Facebook, WhatsApp, all these things also, they will be generating what? Log files. Okay. So whatever the things may be, so a device which consists of a software means is not a big thing. Even a device which even it consists of a chip also, it will be generating log files. So you can remember like this: a device which consists of a software will be generating log files. Okay, will be generating log files. So these are log files. These are called as the log files actually. The operations and the activities or the events that are performed on a machine or a device, whatever it may be. So those files will be stored in separate files. These are called as the log files. Okay. So now coming to our Splunk, how can we define our Splunk? Our Splunk can be defined as a Splunk is a software which searches, analyzes, and visualizes. Okay, a Splunk is software which searches, analyzes, and visualizes machine-generated data into structured data. Okay, so that is the definition of Splunk. So what is structured data again? Structured data is nothing but data which is converted into rows and columns. Okay, structured data is nothing but data which is converted into rows and columns. So this is what Splunk is basically in an ordinary layman terms. So now you say now you will get a doubt that Kiran, this is fine, okay. So Splunk will convert the log files into structured files or structured data. Okay, that is fine. But why to analyze these log files at all? Why to analyze this unstructured data at all? Already we are having several data in the data in our organizations or in our applications already, and we have got sophisticated databases like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, and even NoSQL databases are also there. Okay, which has no structure, where you can use based on your application, you can have the database like that. You need not get your data from the application in a single format, and then you have to do all the CRUD operations, and where you have to make the things to sit in the database like that. You have got such kind of NoSQL databases. Then again, why to use this? Why to analyze the log files at all? Okay, if we have that question, then I do have an answer for that. For example, consider a developer. Okay, what he's doing, he's developing a website, and in that website he's going to put a group of videos in that particular website. Okay, so these videos are available in another server, actually not in the same server, and these videos are available on the other server. So generally they will be doing in order to save space like that, I will be doing like that, right? So it will be on the other server. So so he's having the hyperlink of the particular server, and he's putting the videos over there. So he has done that. Okay, fine. So after some days, okay, to that matter, after some months, the server where the videos are residing there, right? That server went down actually, for suppose. Okay, now does the programmer know? Does the developer knows that? He don't know, right? He won't daily check that. He won't daily check that. Once after writing the code, once after it is getting tested, that the developer or the tester or the testing team doesn't have an idea about it. They will forget it because they will be doing other things. Then if the server went down, who knows then? Only the end user who clicks that particular video. If it is not playing, he only knows, and he then escalates the problem. Okay, he then escalates the problem. If the end user escalates the problem, it is not a good thing, right? So it is not a good thing if the end user escalates the problem. So in order to avoid these kinds of situations, actually, if these servers, both the website, both the server where the videos are being placed, and in the website server, and the servers where the videos are being resided, if these servers are connected to our Splunk environment, okay, they are connected to our Splunk environment, this Splunk analyzes the particular server, and we will get a status 200, right? Status 200. We'll get a status 200 if the server is working properly. If the page is working properly, we'll get a status 200. Otherwise, we'll get other than 200, 404, 503, whatever maybe. Whatever the problem is there, that status will come. So Splunk automatically analyzes and it produces alerts. If it is not, if the status is not 200, it will produces the alerts. Okay, and these alerts, the Splunk developer, what does he do? These alerts will be sent to the particular team. These in the form of mails or in the form of tickets, whatever it may be. So these things will be sent to the particular development team, so that they can immediately take care of the particular thing. So their life becomes easy, right? And no need of escalation as well. So in this way, this Splunk will be useful. This is one of the, this is not the exact thing where we use Splunk, but this is one of the use case. Okay, like this Splunk will be useful. Okay, this is one thing. Let me tell you another example as well. For suppose if you are browsing some e-commerce sites, okay, we'll be browsing some nowadays it's quite common, right? We'll be browsing e-commerce sites. For example, I'm browsing a site like Amazon, okay, Amazon.in, okay. When I go to that particular site, I have not logged in, okay. First of all, I have not logged in at all. I have not logged in, and I don't want to buy anything. I want to just search something over here. For example, say I'm interested in mobile phones, okay. I'm interested in mobile phones. So from the Shopify category, I'm clicking these mobile phones. I want to check this actually. So I'll find several things over here. Then again, I'm interested in OnePlus, and again I will click this. Okay. So just like this, I will be browsing. That's it. I'm not going to buy anything. I'm seeing each and every feature of the mobile phone. Okay, OnePlus Nord 2 5G. Okay, like that, the color, the RAM available. Okay, all those things I'm just seeing, and I'm just scrolling it. Okay, I'm just scrolling it, and I have seen a particular mobile where it is less than 30,000 price. Okay, so I have clicked it again, and I'm just seeing all these things, the price, the actual features of it, all these things I'm seeing, but I have not bought anything. I have not logged in even, and I have not bought anything. I'm just searching. Okay, and I have like this. I have spent some 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, I have noticed all the features. Okay, and I have got an idea, and I have closed it. Okay, I have not done anything, right? I have not done anything. I have just scrolled it, and I have just clicked on some items, and I have seen the price tags and all, features and all. But again, tomorrow morning, if I open another website, okay, then they will get an ad pertaining to the mobile phone which I have seen yesterday. Am I correct or not? I will be getting ads popped up regarding the mobile phones which I have seen yesterday. How is it happening? How is that happening? It is happening because of your log files, actually. Because of your log files, the log files will be generated, right? Once if you open the website, Amazon website, immediately some hundreds of log files will be generated. Okay, even though if you're not signed in, or if you're not bought anything also, even though if you scroll, or even though if you click on something, the log files will be generated. So from that thing, they will capture your IP address, and then they analyze each and everything. Okay, they go, okay, this much of time he has searched, these items he has clicked, so he is interested in mobile phones, particularly in OnePlus. Okay, so that's why yesterday what you have searched, OnePlus mobile phones. So the same thing will appear in tomorrow in your website as well, in another website as well. Okay, now they will be giving some tag timeline deal, time deal, okay, like that, some limited period deal like that. So now you will be thinking that you will be getting for a cheap price, and you will be tempted and will be buying that. Correct. So now is it generating good income for their business or not? Their business is growing or not? Okay, so in this way it is useful. That's why this Splunk will be not only the logging tools, actually the logging tools, by analyzing the logging tools, it will be useful like that. Okay, so this is the reason why you should use Splunk. Okay, fine. Okay, Kiran, you have told that, so we have understood why Splunk is useful. Okay, so everybody is getting right what I'm saying? If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay. So this is fine. Okay. So now, where to use this Splunk actually? Where to use this Splunk? So if you have that question again, I will say that this Splunk can be used everywhere. See, you take any sector nowadays. You take any sector, whether it is a banking sector, whether it's a finance sector, of course, technology, of course, education, even, or even government sectors. Wherever you take, wherever the data is not growing, tell me first of all. Today, without growing data, where is there any business? Tell me. Data is growing everywhere, right? So if you consider an institute also, so what does those people do? For example, if you have joined for a Java course, okay, if you join for a core Java course, then they will be having your phone numbers and email address, right? So you have joined over there and you have completed the core Java. Then after completing the course, will the people delete your phone numbers or the mobile numbers? They won't do that, because it is useful for them actually. It is useful for their business. Tomorrow they will launch advanced Java course. okay, then they will call you and say and tell that, okay, advanced course Java is launching by us, so that will be useful for you for your future. Will be having good jobs in the market. They will be saying like that. Correct or not? So if this is the case of the institute in Hyderabad, okay, so then what is then what you can think about the e-commerce giants like that or big organizations? Okay, the data is, they will be growing very vast, very drastically. Okay, that is why as there is big data, there will be Splunk. You remember one thing. That is why I say that Splunk will not exit at any point in time. It will be there forever. Okay, that is the thing. So no need. Some people they may fear like that. Okay, even in order to switch the career as well, but there no need to fear like that. Okay, so it has got a bright future in security and all these things. So people one who wants to switch, they can easily, and this is the good time actually. So this is the right time, I can say. Okay, even my personal experience is that 3 to 4 calls, if I'm not wrong, at least 2 to 3 calls in a day, especially from Monday to Thursday. In these days, you will be getting at least, I'm seeing at least 2 to 3 phone calls coming in each day. So you can understand what is the demand for this Splunk. Okay, so like that, organization looking for the people, so you can have a good future in this one. So where are we? So in this like this, it can be useful actually. So in these areas, everywhere, not only everywhere in every sector, Splunk can be used. Okay, that is the thing. So again, if you say that in big organizations or in small organizations, then again I will say that in both the organizations. For example, consider that you are a CEO of an organization. Okay, if you are a CEO of an organization, of a small organization, say some 10 to 15 employees are there in your organization. For example, if you monitor those people manually, is it possible for you? Even though there are 15 to 20 people also, is it possible for you to monitor them manually? If you go and see their faces for every 1 hour, nobody will stay in your organization, right? Nobody will stay. Everybody will leave the organization. So yeah, even though if you have CC cameras as well, they will monitor whether the person is in the seat or not, That's it. They cannot exactly get the screen what they are. You cannot exactly view the screen what they are doing, right? So that is the thing. So in that case, if you install Splunk in their system, okay, if you install Splunk in their system, you need not know that, okay. And some people, I have seen some people who are very smart actually. So 1/4 of their inch above the taskbar, okay, 1/4 of the inch above the taskbar, they will be using these mobile applications or YouTube the kind of things, and they will be playing these things, songs or videos or whatever maybe. So some people will also be like that. So in that cases, if you install Splunk on their machines, they do not even know that. And if you can sit on your seat, and in your seat, if you can sit and if you monitor them, if you get events like does anybody want to speak something?
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, Kiran. I had this question. Actually, when you said about the Amazon example, I was having this doubt. Like, we'll be analyzing the log files via Splunk. So, in order to target the customers, do they use Splunk or the Splunk has to do
Any kind of logging tool. Not only
analyzing?
it should not be Splunk only. See, this kind of logging tools, this is the technology where nowadays people are using, right? This is where we are seeing all these kinds of stuff. So log files, by analyzing log files, IP address, and various other methods and technologies also, we can do that. But Splunk is also the thing where we can use it. That's what I mean to say.
Okay, so for targeting the customers, Splunk is used or no? You said it
Yeah,
will pop up whenever we see another, whenever
yeah,
we do another website.
Yeah, it can be like that also. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, right. So this is the thing. So now,
excuse me, Mr. Kiran, one quick question. So when this SEO comes into picture, that search engine optimization, like usually what we heard is these marketing, all the stuff.
that is different. Search engine optimization is a different stuff again. search engine optimization, and these things are different actually. You can also in order to get your business, for example, in Google, if you want to get your website name in Google search in the first place, okay, that is the in those techniques we can use those techniques for getting the your name in the first place. Like that, SEO will be useful. In those things, it will be useful. It is different. It is completely different from this. Okay, digital marketing and SEO, those are completely different topics.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Sure. 1 minute. I have another question.
Mm.
So here basically Splunk is sensing the logs which is available in the web server. Is it?
yeah, it is not only web server, in any kind of device. Okay, any kind
Okay.
of device where it has a software in it, even though it is a single chip also, it can device in a router, sensor. Okay, whatever it may be, in a device or in a machine, whatever it may be, it will be analyzing log files, not only log files, system generated files. Even if you have CSV files as well, that also it can read. If you have HTML files also, it will read. Okay, whatever the file may be, Splunk has the capacity to read it and to index it. We'll be discussing later all those things. Okay, this is
Okay.
just a introduction, right?
Okay.
And could you also tell us how long will your course will be, and then what are the days
Yeah, yeah,
that you're gonna
I will tell,
conduct
I will
the
tell, I will telling,
course?
I will tell. Yeah, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely.
thanks.
Yeah. So let me complete the introduction thing so that I'll be telling. It won't take much. Okay. So by around within 15 minutes, I'll be completing and I will be telling. Like this we can monitor we can monitor the status of the particular employee. For example, if you're getting from a machine A, so from machine A, if you're getting events like YouTube, or if you're getting events like WhatsApp, then what does it mean for some particular amount of time? So you can also everything will be captured. So what does that mean? So the person who sits on the machine A, so he has watched YouTube for so and so time. Okay, like that you can monitor. So it will be useful like that. Okay, even small organizations, in non-naughty organizations as well, it will be useful like that here. So, and again, large organizations, we have already seen how it is useful. I'll also
So
tell this.
is it sorry to interrupt you, is it useful for cloud based as well, database as well?
Yeah, Splunk will be nowadays. Splunk will be used in cloud also. In not exactly now. People are not using right now. In 1 or 2 years, everything will be on cloud only. It will be just like a SaaS kind of application where your Salesforce applications are there, right? So like that only will be used actually. Okay, so there is the kind of stuff. Okay, so like the SaaS, it can be used. We need not have an on-premises kind of setup. All those things. Just you have to have your things over there. That's it. No bother about the servers and all those kinds of stuff. So that is the thing. So again, if I had to tell an example for the large organization, have you ever faced this problem? Have you ever faced it? If you are if you are searching in e-commerce sites, or if you have bought something in e-commerce sites, your order has not been placed, but the amount has been cut. Have you ever faced those things? Have you ever faced this kind of problem? Anyone can specify. The amount has been cut, but the order is not placed. Have you ever faced this kind of situation? You would have faced it, right? Especially yeah, nowadays, because more number of things are happening. So why does it happen actually? Why does it happen? And what will you do first of all when it happens like that? Your amount has been cut, but order is not placed. What we will do? We will be calling the customer care, right? In the first instance, we will be calling the customer person, okay, customer care person. So what does it tell us? Especially in last 2 to 3 years. Now it is okay. In last 2 to 3 years, what does it tell us? Sir, it will take some 3 to 7 days time. Correct or not? It will take, in order to rectify your problem. Okay, you are saying that there is a problem with you. Your amount has been cut, but order is not placed. So in order to rectify that, it will take some 3 to 7 days time. And if some banking sites are there, they will say that 10 days. Correct or not? So what does it happening actually? So whenever you call the customer care person that your amount has been cut, but the order is not placed, immediately he will be sending that that query, whatever the query you have given to him, whatever the input you have given to him, he will be sending it to the development team. The development people, what does they do? They will analyze the code, okay, wherever there is wrong, and then okay, there is no problem with us. They say that there is no problem with us because we have done everything right, so there is no problem. And then they send it to whom? They send it to again the testing people. Again the testing people, they will check the things. They will check the test cases and all, and they will say that already it is tested, there is no problem from our side. Okay, and they will send it to the deployment person. Who is the deployment person? Team leader will be there, right? So who has deployed the all your files, who has measured all your files in GitHub or some other thing, and he will be deployed all those things, right? Then he will again check the files, whether he has missed any files or not, he has whether he has missed any deployments or not. So he finds again everything is correct, and then he will be sending it to the database team. They also finds that everything is okay. If they find that again, if they find that everything is fine, then they'll come to a conclusion that okay, there is a problem from the customer end itself, due to some reason it has been cut, and then they will check the inventory of the particular day in the database. They will check the inventory of the particular day, where the inventory, if the inventory is like that, okay, on that particular day and the particular time where the customer has used the website, okay, if the inventory is like that only, and if the amount has generated more for them at that particular point in time, okay, then they will come to a conclusion that whatever the customer is saying is correct, and then they will do the things. So in order to perform all these activities, it was taking time earlier. It was taking that much of time. But now if you use our technology, okay, so now what will happen? So we have got the development team will be first of all checking, right? So nothing but web server. Okay. So next, the testing team, that is nothing but the testing server. And next, the deployment server. And what is the other thing we do have? The database server. So these are all the phases. It will go right. The database server. So if we connect all these servers to our instance, which instance? To our Splunk instance. Okay. If we connect all these servers to our Splunk instance, so now the data will come live, right? Now the data is coming live to our Splunk instance. So each and every server is connected like this. Each and every server is connected like this to our Splunk instance. So even the database server also is connected. Okay, it is connected to our Splunk instance. Now, our Splunk, what does it do? Our Splunk will act as everything. I will discuss in the subsequent classes all this kind of stuff. Okay, So there will be a searching thing in our Splunk environment itself, where is also a Splunk. Where it is also a Splunk, but we'll be calling it as a searching, okay, searching unit. There are separate names for it. We'll be discussing all those things. This searching unit, what does it do? It searches this is the storage. Okay, this is the main thing where the servers are connected to the Splunk instance. Is there, right? This is the storage, and the searching unit, what does it do? It searches the things which are stored in the main storage. This is also Splunk. This is also Splunk, and this is also Splunk as well. So it searches here. It searches here in the main storage. How does it search again? By using SPL queries. By using SPL queries. What is that? SPL queries. These SPL queries will be given by a Splunk developer. Okay, Splunk developer. It is not SQL, it is SPL, Splunk processing language. Okay, Splunk processing language it is called. So this Splunk developer, he'll be writing some SPL queries over here, and then this searching unit will searches this Splunk. Okay, and it produces alerts. Okay, what we are checking? We are checking for the errors, right now. We are checking for the errors. Okay, so it will provide some alerts based on some conditions. Okay, it provides some alerts based on some conditions, so that is provide some alerts. Okay, so and so error is this. So if the error is pertaining to the web server, immediately what does the developer do? Developer do means he will configure immediately. How does he configure? So that this error will go to the particular department or particular web server. Okay, this error will go to the particular web server. If there is a error pertaining to the web server, then it will go to the web server. Okay, if there is error pertaining to the coding, then it will go to the web server. Or else, if there is an error pertaining to some test cases, okay, then it will be going to the testing server. Okay, like that you will configure. Or else, if there is an error relating to deployment, it will go to the deployment server. Okay, and similarly, if there is an error relating to database, it will go into the database server. So like that, on the go, it will be generating like this. On the go, you will be having errors. If the Splunk identifies errors, what is the main task? Actually, it analyzes, right? It analyzes log files and it catch hold of the errors. It highlights the errors. It won't debug anything, but it highlights the errors. So these errors, if we can capture and you can produce alerts, and if you can send it to the separate teams or the separate web servers where it has been coming from, then it will be a great thing, right? On the go, the errors will be solved, and then the problem will be solved immediately. So like that, it will be done. Your now will you have more customer satisfaction or not? Your problem will be solving within minutes. So that is the reason nowadays, even if you are nowadays you are getting immediately, right? If the problem, if the amount has this kind of situations has happened now, then you will get the thing somewhat earlier, right? So this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff you can have by using these log files and all. Okay, so this is the thing. In this way, it will be useful actually. Not only this, actually, not only this is the one thing actually. You can have the errors and you can find it on the go, and again Not only like this, you can also have a sophisticated reports and visualizations in Splunk as well. Okay, whatever the things you do from a programming languages, what kind of dashboards you can produce, those things you can also produce in Splunk. For example, in each and every organization will be having HR department, right? For example, if the HR department has to monitored, okay, so the data will be coming from where, just similar to we have seen, it will be coming from a web server. Okay, and again it will be coming from some test server, consider. So from again we can consider some networking server, some network servers. Okay, so again, if this HR data is coming from these servers, the log files are capturing in these things, then if we can connect to this Splunk instance, this Splunk storage, okay. So each and every server can be connected to our Splunk storage. This is our Splunk, this Splunk instance. Now, as I said that the searching unit will be there, right? It will be searching. So it will be searching. Okay, how it will be searching? So by using some SQL query. Okay, let me explain that also. So for example, if you have a SQL query like this, for example, index equals to some, this is HR data, right? Employee EMP data. Okay, source type equals, what is this index, what is the source type, all those things we will be discussing in subsequent classes. Okay, source type equals to some salary data. Okay, so I will go with a pipe symbol. I'll go for top again, top, EMP ID, EMP name, EMP sal something, and EMP designation. So like this you can write SQL queries. Okay, like this you can write. So like this you can write SQL queries, and you can get the data searched. Actually, whatever the storage is there, you can get the data searched. Okay, now you can produce reports. Okay, you can produce reports of your wish. Okay, whatever the kind of reports you want, you can get the data and you can generate the reports, and you can develop them into beautiful dashboards and all. So like this you can generate the reports. Okay, you can generate the reports and you can produce beautiful visualizations. So who will be doing all the Splunk developer will be writing SQL queries, and taking these SQL queries, the search unit will be there, right? The search unit we call So this will search in the storage, Splunk storage, and it will produce the reports whatever we want. Okay, so this is useful or not on the go if you are getting all these kinds of stuff. Okay, so again, if you think that the capability of Splunk is limited to this one, you are mistaken. What is the main use? Actually, it will analyze the data, it will analyze, and it will highlight the errors whatever are there. That is the main thing that Splunk does. Okay, so in this way, the Splunk is useful. Okay, now you have got a clarity, right, where this Splunk is used. Okay, so now I will be showing the GUI as well. Okay, so that we'll have an idea. So this GUI of Splunk looks like this, and you will be having, you have to log in just like any other software. So these are all the apps actually the Splunk will provide. Okay, search and reporting is the default app, whereas the other apps in the 8.2.1 version, it is showcasing these apps because they are the newly generated apps. Otherwise, only search and reporting app will be there. So, and again, I have to tell you the great feature of this Splunk is that it has got apps. Okay, it has got apps. What is those apps? So just like your Android mobile phones will be, you will be having apps there, right? So just like your Android mobile phones are the Apple stores, whatever it may be, you will be having apps, right? Similarly, Splunk also has got more than thousands of apps. That is the one of the reasons Splunk has brought to the top position actually. Okay, just like your Play Store or Apple Store, Splunk has got a thing called Splunk Base. What is that? Splunk Base. Splunkbase.splunk.com. If you go there, you will be having more than thousands of apps. Okay, see, more than thousands of apps you'll be having. This is the one of the thing, as I said earlier, Splunk went to the top actually. So this is the main reasons. So whatever the app you want, whatever the, if not anything, if not anything, at least the business requirements, whatever you have, you will be having the apps pertaining to these things. Okay, so that is why Splunk has grown to that extent. It has become a market leader. Okay, so like that, Splunk will be having apps in Splunk. Either we can also go from Splunk itself in this software itself. Okay, if you go there, we will be having these things actually, or again we can go to Splunk base as well, and we can download the apps, whatever, just like plugins, if you know WordPress, right? If you know WordPress, how will you use plugins over there? Similar to that, you have to use the plugins here also. That's it. It's as simple as such. Okay, so now if I go to the search and reporting, this is the main thing where we have talked about the search thing is there, right? The searching unit we have talked right now. So this is the main thing. So if I type something over here, if I say that some internal index or something else, what does Splunk does, you know? It reads everything. We'll be discussing all these things in detail. It reads everything and it produces, see, from the log files, it will produces these events. Okay, these are called as events. In the right pane, these are called as events, and the left pane, these are called as the fields. Okay, automatically, see, from the log files, from the junk data, it has produced these fields. Okay, see, whatever it can, it will produce the fields. So these fields you can use to write your SQL queries, to generate reports, to generate dashboards, all those kinds of stuff. Okay, there will be again interesting fields, all those things we'll be discussing in detail in subsequent classes. So these are the things. Basically, it will generate fields, okay, which will be useful for generating reports, dashboards, all those kinds of stuff. Apart from that, Splunk automatically will generate some 70 to 80, whatever the data you give, some 70 to 80% of the data it will read, and it will produce index, and it will produce fields for us. But even then, if you think that you have to produce some more fields, you can also do that on your own. And there are various other methods as well. Okay, writing regular expressions, using various commands, okay, lookups, joins, all those things are there. By using those techniques, we can and methods, we can produce our own fields so that we can use it for producing graphs, charts, all those kinds of stuff. And you can even produce the dashboards like this. I will show you one thing. Sophisticated dashboards, just like in a programmatical language, what we can do. Okay, so for example, product sales dashboard. Okay, This is the kind of stuff it can produce. See, all the reports in a glance, we can make it available for the management, so that in a single dashboard they can see all this. These are the product sales actually. Okay, these are the product sales. These are location-wise products. These are location-wise products available. Okay, these are day-wise sales in each country. So all this information we can produce. Sales based on country, city, and region. So these kind of reports, if we show it to the management, they will be happy. Is it correct or not? At a glance. Okay, so if you are going to show a report to Ambani, he is interested to get the information at a glance. Correct or not? He won't see for all kinds of reports and things. At a glance, he should have an idea by seeing this stuff. So similarly, say, in Splunk, we can produce all these kinds of stuff. Okay, this is the usefulness of Splunk actually. So from next subsequent classes, we'll be starting the things directly, and we'll be deep diving into the Splunk. Okay, so that we'll be having more kinds of information. Yeah, and coming to the course, one of the person has asked, right? So I will be taking 30 sessions. Okay, I'll be taking 30 sessions in order to complete. I will be teaching both admin as well as development. Okay, in the market it is very rare to teach development as well. Okay, they will say that they will teaching admin, but admin also they won't complete the things. But I will be teaching both admin as well as development. Okay, when it comes to admin, I will in the first place I will show you how to install Splunk in the local system, and again I will show you how to install Splunk in the AWS cloud. I will throughout the course I will be using AWS cloud only. Okay, AWS cloud, and then in AWS cloud also I'll be using Linux as the operating system, and again Ubuntu as the flavor, because most of the companies use that only. Will be also using that only. Okay, Linux in the AWS cloud, Linux operating system, and Ubuntu as the flavor. Okay, that is the thing, first thing. And again I will be discussing all the configurations for all the components of the Splunk. Okay, so these are the basic component. This is the basic architecture of the Splunk we have seen actually. This is the basic architecture of the Splunk actually. So I will be explaining again in subsequent classes. So apart from that, I will be having forwarders, indexers, okay, search head. If somebody know about Splunk, then these are the basic components. So apart from that, I'll also discuss the advanced things like index clustering, okay, substrate clustering, deployment server, deployer, all those kinds of things also I will be discussing, and I will be providing configurations as well. When it comes to configurations, I will provide configurations in 3 modes actually. One is from the front end. Okay, one is from the front end, and other is from the command line interface, and third one is from the configuration, right, directly writing in the configuration files. Okay, see, this is very most of people doesn't tell all these things, but this is important actually, because when you go to production actually, the front end will be disabled if you join as an admin. Sometimes because due to some security reasons in some organizations, they will disable the front end, keeping in view that you are admin and you can work from the background itself. So in that case, then you have to work then you will have no chance to work from the GUI. Then in that case you have to work from the either from command line interface or from the configuration files. Okay, so then it will become handy for you. So as I will be discussing all the 3 modes. Okay, that is the thing, and I will be discussing all the updates, all the deployments, how to do all those things for all the components of the Splunk. Okay, this is for the admin part. And when it comes to development part, as I have told you, I will be clearly specifying SPL queries, how to write SPL queries, Splunk processing language, how to write regular expressions, how to write even cron jobs. Okay, what are lookups, what are macros, event types, reports, dashboards, both static as well as dynamic, graphs, charts, visualizations, whatever it may be, both in admin development. All those things I will be discussing in the class. Okay, you can have the course content as well in the Durgasoft website. Okay, you can go and you can view over there. Okay, so that you can have a clear idea what I will be teaching. So this is the thing. Okay, so it is my sincere advice that yes.
Yeah, hi Kiran. I have a small question. So that means
Yeah.
we could say that is the Splunk is the replacement of ELK, right? In some extent, right?
Yeah.
Because in ELK, because I'm backend expertise developer, so I'm using microservices. So I'm using that ELK for monitoring the loggings issue. So if you get any issue,
So yeah. So in the next class itself, I will be discussing the differentiation between ELK and Splunk, so that you can clearly understand. Okay. So I'll be clearly discussing the differences between ELK and Splunk. Why Splunk is much more superior than ELK. So I'll be discussing that. We can clearly understand. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So any more questions? So as I told you earlier, so Durgasoft is providing for a very reasonable price actually, and I am 100% sure that you won't have the price tag anywhere else in the world. that kind of I was astonished actually by seeing the price tag. So they said that then they will put like that only. So utilize that opportunity and become a Splunker and have a great future and have a bright future. Okay, that is the thing I can say.
What is the cost for this course? Admission fees?
8,000. Only
Okay,
8,000
okay.
rupees. If
Okay,
you see other in other places they will be teaching for 25,000, 40,000 like that. The same that, and they won't teach even development as well. Okay,
okay. Duration 30 days, right?
30 to 35 sessions. 30 to 35 sessions. 5 day a week. 5 day a week,
Monday
and
to
the timings are from Monday 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Okay.
That's every day 9 a.m. to 5 day a week 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Can
Yes.
you explain in short Splunk where we use?
Yeah. See, in order to analyze the log files, okay, in the first place, in order to analyze and to showcase those errors, we'll be using Splunk. In order to produce reports, in order to produce dashboards, like that, we'll be using Splunk. Okay. For infrastructure management, we'll be using Splunk. It has a security feature. It will be used. So so all these areas, it will be used actually. That is why it has got such much of demand. Okay.
In Windows log files for searching log files, event viewer is also there.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, right? Whatever whatever these system files, whatever the log files, whatever the database files, whatever, even you have the option to connect to the database as, right? You have got the database. You can connect, not even as a this kind of, you did not get it from a forwarder kind of thing. You can directly connect to a database, and you can replicate that database, and you can use that information in your Splunk actually. And again, you can, if you have any more information, you can update that information to the database as well. That kind of stuff Splunk is having. Okay. Splunk DB Connected is called as. We have got a app. So by the app, that's what I have said. So we have got different tabs. By using those apps, we can do what our business needs.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So any more questions?
Are there any other timings that you will be conducting the same course?
Actually, they have told that already some students have registered for these timings. Okay. So I have also asked them actually. So they have said that some students have already registered for these timings actually. So you do one thing. You please talk with the management. Okay. And if you have any preferred timings, you can give it to them. So based on majority, then they will take the batch. Okay. Then they will put the timings of the batch. Right now, what they have said is some students have already specified for 9 a.m. thing. So they are keeping that batch. So you can again contact the management and you can specify your timings once after getting registered. Okay. So you can you can specify them the timing so that they will take into consideration. And again, based on the majority, so the batch will be continued at that particular timings. Okay.
Hello. So, what
Yeah.
would be the prerequisite for this course?
Nothing. As I said earlier, there are no prerequisites. There is no coding. Okay. So SQL will be there, Splunk processing language, which will be very easy. I will be defining it very clearly so that you can easily understand. There are no prerequisites. You need not have any programming language. You need not have any database requirements. Okay, database proficiency. It is easily understandable, and it is easily it can be done.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
So actually, as you said that in the admin level, Splunk admin, you will be using that cloud, and then you will be using Linux command line interface as well, Ubuntu flavor.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
do we have to know all these things, or are you gonna give us some basic stuff on that?
Yes. You asked a good question actually. So you need not have even if you have Linux knowledge, that will be well and good. Even if you do not know as well, in the day which I show you the installation and all those stuff, right? The entire day I will be teaching the Linux commands from the installation thing. I will be teaching the Linux commands where it will be useful for you. You can also understand the Linux things, okay, and it will be useful for our Splunk as well. So you can I am sure that I will be teaching whatever that is required for a Splunk. Those Linux commands you will be knowing. That is sufficient actually. Okay, even though I will be providing material. Even though if you want to know more about Linux, I'll be providing material, and from that you can know. Okay, but whatever the thing which is required for our Splunk by using Linux commands and all those things, I will be showing you so you can easily understand. So the entire class, I'll be taking on that only. Okay. So even though if you do not know Linux, no need to worry. I'll be teaching that. Okay. Okay. The person who has asked it, Sandeep, I think Sandeep or someone else. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. And Sayed.
Yeah.
Thank you much.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So shall we wind up the session?
So we are starting tomorrow, right? If at all.
Yeah, tomorrow
Like,
9 a.m. If you have got any, tomorrow 9 a.m.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. If you got any doubts in timings, or if you got any preferred timings, please speak to the management and inform them, so that based on the majority, they will be keeping the timings. Okay. So okay then. Okay. Have a good day. So anybody wants to ask something? Okay then. Hello. Okay. Have a good day and have a great weekend. I hope we'll meet tomorrow at 9 a.m. Okay. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.